Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Good evening. It's 4 o'clock on Thursday afternoon, and we come to you once again with a reading from the book, The Way, the Truth, and the Life. We will read the message and then make some comments, say a prayer, and then wrap up. Today's message is number 132, entitled Going Always Forward. Of course, The Way, the Truth, and the Life is a spiritist book, part of a series that Emmanuel has written. The other book is Living Spring and Our Daily Bread. Emmanuel used the medium Chico Xavier to present these messages and get them published. So let's get to the message or the chapter. As I mentioned, 132, Going Always Forward. And of course, Emmanuel always has a New Testament quote, or sometimes a Old Testament quote, but majority of the time it's a New Testament quote. This is a second letter of Peter, chapter 2, verse 19. And the quote is, "For whoever is defeated by something is made a slave to it." Then Emmanuel writes, "In order to accomplish the lofty objectives of life, the incarnate spirit needs to recognize his or her role as a learner and thus profit from every experience without becoming enslaved to it. Money, material needs, sickness, and health are educational situations of immense worth to those who know how to make the most of such evolutionary opportunities in their true essence. Unfortunately, generally speaking, people only recognize this fact when they approach transformation due to the death of the physical body. Very few people go from one situation to the next with due dignity. Usually, whenever rich persons find themselves in a situation of want, they yield to extreme grief and wind up defeated like miserable servants of beggary. On the other hand, whenever once poor individuals find themselves in a wealthy financial position, they often become overly demanding, enslaving themselves to extravagance and tyranny. Much caution is crucial so that such transitory situations do not paralyze the ascent of the soul. Therefore, maintain an upright conscience and dive into the edifying endeavor. Then, whatever situation you find yourself in, you will see it as a chance to go higher and further." That's the end of the reading of the chapter. And it's interesting with this particular chapter that Emmanuel wrote. We believe that he kind of summarized the whole message in the beginning paragraph. However, most of the time he summarizes everything in the last paragraph. And so let's go back to the first paragraph and start there with some of our commentary. In order to accomplish the bear with me here. Okay. Got to get things straight here. Okay. In order to accomplish the lofty objectives of life, the incarnate spirit needs to recognize his or her role as a learner and thus profit from every experience without becoming enslaved to it. And this is basically what he goes on to describe in the remaining part of the message. He goes this whole idea that he starts out in that second paragraph: money, material needs, sickness, and health are educational situations of immense worth to those who know how to make the most of such evolutionary opportunities in their true essence. And what can happen, as he writes about in the fourth paragraph here, is we'll take a simple example of health. When a person is so caught up in maintaining their physical health, and I'll be the first to, go along with the fact that definitely we need to take care of our physical body, as the Spiritist literature over and over recommends that this is a gift from God, this beautiful temple, and we need to take care of it. What will happen, though, is you can get so engrossed in the right food, the proper exercise, enough sleep, de-stressing yourself. These are all great types of activities. However, it should not be made the focus of your life, okay? And there are people that get into this way of doing things, and they become, as Emmanuel is saying, they become slaves to that particular thing. Another one he points out here: material needs. And of course, one of the issues that so many of us have in this coming back in this lifetime, because of the fact we're in this material environment, let us say, it's a material world. As who was it? Madonna. Material. I'm a material girl. Little did she know. This, again, you can be so wrapped up in making sure that you have this beautiful house, or let us say you have just having a house, for that matter. It becomes something that really is all encompassing. Maybe you're looking for that car. And of course, these are all things that we need. We need a place to live. We need some means of transportation. Money is another one. You can get so wrapped up. People that are constantly checking the stock market, constantly looking at their bank account. I remember a friend of mine who had, I believe it was the father of this friend. This was many years ago. And it's a perfect example of this enslavement that Emmanuel is talking about. And what did the man do? But he had a whole number of, I believe it was CDs, or certificates of deposit, because back then, this is going back some 20 some years, maybe 25 years. Yeah. And he would count those. He would, I don't know how often he would do it. However, he would do it on a continual basis. It was like his hobby. And of course, I'm sure he was, because he had a good deal of money, he was probably generating some of these certificates of deposit money market funds. And he would constantly count them. So what does this do? It takes away your time from really why we're here. And why are we here? We're here to learn from these experiences, not to have them to capture you and keep you as a slave to them. Now, let's see, 1 second. I think it's this. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. The fourth paragraph here. Very few people go from one situation to the next. This is, again, the people that get enslaved with due dignity. And I wanted to, I always love to do the vocabulary lesson in some of these words that are here. That's a pretty straightforward word, dignity. I looked it up in the dictionary, and there's a number of definitions, but the one that I think stands out in how it's used here by Emmanuel is the third definition that was there: sense of pride in oneself or self-respect. And how you handle a situation is really important. And here they talk about a rich person that finds himself in a situation where he's lost money and he goes into a grief. He becomes a servant to begging because the money is not there anymore. Instead of using that opportunity as a way of learning what is it like to be without this excess amount of money, you've got to learn to live within your means. And here's the exercise that the person would be missing because he throws himself into that depression over having lost the money. The other example that Emmanuel gives us is about the once poor individual that comes into a financial position, and they become overly demanding, enslaving themselves to extravagance, and that last one, tyranny. And of course, again, looking up the definition of tyranny, it's unreasonable or arbitrary. It's the number 3 definition of this one, because most of the time we talk about tyranny, we think about it from a governmental or a political point of view of betraying or overthrowing a particular government. But here, the third definition is unreasonable or arbitrary use of power or control. And again, here's the perfect example with the person that was very poor and once probably relegated to having to, ask for help, go for meals and so forth. Lord only knows. And now he comes into money, and he becomes a person of power and control. And he's just very arbitrary and unreasonable. So these are, and of course, the poor person has already had the lesson of being poor. And now he's getting the lesson of being rich. But what does he do with it? He wastes it because it grabs him and captures him and enslaves him. So towards the end of the chapter, the caution about the transitory situations, and that's what here on earth is, all transitory situations. Don't let it paralyze your ascent to the soul, because Spiritism is always, always encouraging us to seek out, to feel the good, to visualize it and then mold it, which in reality means think about it, feel it, and then do the good as much as you possibly can, because God is continually putting those in front of us. And the last paragraph talks about maintaining a good conscience. And as he said, diving in or grabbing a hold of these experiences so that you can find yourself in any situation, and you will see the chance to go higher and further. Okay, so that I think wraps up, does a really good summary of that chapter. And so let's close our eyes and take a deep breath in and release. Dear Mother, Father God, Lord Jesus, Mother Mary, and Mentor Spirits, we are always grateful for your guidance and protection throughout one of these Kardec radio broadcasts, knowing that we must deliver as best a message as we possibly can, and always enjoying the delivery of the message, because not only are we helping to broadcast this message and nourishing people's souls, but we're also nourishing our own soul in the reading of the message and the studying of the message and deciding how to comment on it. We also ask for God and Jesus's enormous and infinite love and mercy and healing energy to be spread through our families, our friends, our neighbors, our city and our state, and throughout the United States, and of course, especially over in the Ukraine area this day, as an incursion of Russian troops has begun in the eastern part of Ukraine. We ask that your love pervade that area on both sides, also on the Russian side and also on the Ukraine side, for a compromised situation to end this tragedy. We also ask that infinite love and healing energy be spread among the people that are in hospitals, in nursing homes, in mental wards, so that it also helps people that might be in jail, people that are locked away and enslaved, as we talked about in here, to money or lack of money, to material possessions, to their health. And we know that there's no limit to your effect on the world, the earth, and of course within the universe. Your power is awe-inspiring and unknowable at our level now. But eventually we will get to the point of a mere understanding, or maybe a mere glimpse of how powerful and ever-present it is. We are grateful for the guidance and protection during this meeting, and we ask permission to end this little broadcast, and so be it. Thank you, my friends, for joining us, whether you join us now or later on demand. It's always a great honor and privilege to be here. And we wish you well, and we send our love and our good thoughts to all.